Tony, so nice to see you. Anthony,
So nice to see you.
so nice. Yeah. Where are you now?
You know what's funny is I'm actually in Baltimore
Oh,
right
you
now.
are in Baltimore. Okay, I prepared to I tried to brush up my some Spanish Creole expressions,
I
and they're like,
know, I know,
no, he's in Baltimore. No, no, no problem for me.
I know.
Old,
I'm right up
old,
the
old
street.
teacher. So listen, Anthony. First of all, I'd like to thank you
Of course.
because I will never forget. You said, look, kind of, we can do a blog or a video blog or something like that. And I thought, what
I
is
think you could
this?
do a. I think you could do your own podcast, Professor.
Podcast, yeah, something like that. Continuous presentations on internet, yeah.
Hmm.
And I've been thinking about you and your input. Um, and definitely, it gives me ultimate pleasure that we can communicate outside of that class now. You're not taking a class anymore, so
Hmm.
there's nothing, nothing obligatory, and we can just
Hmm.
discuss. And I hope we had a recording of our previous conversations. So consider this project that it was initiated by you pretty much, and I
Hmm.
just
Well,
this is
with your
pandemics.
honor and blessing.
Yeah, the
I
pandemics
know.
is such a time when you really want to reconnect with some people, and it's physically not possible sometimes. So I started doing this series, and
Yeah,
there's
they're wonderful.
a
The
Pasha.
videos are great.
Oh, thank you, Pasha Pavel Tursunov. I have some unusual people. You will see later. There's a composer who writes kind of traditional tonal. I don't know how to say it. I mean,
Mm.
I'm tired of this binary position, but he is not marching together with others. That's how I would put it. And there, of course, they have forsaken him. He's living somewhere in outskirts of Moscow. And you would say, oh, who cares for him? He's not the avant-garde. He's not cutting edge. He's sitting there writing music for strings or something like that. But he's a student of Tikhon Khrennikov, and he
Mm.
can arrange, he can orchestrate things. Anthony, you know what I mean? He's a master. He's really
Hmm.
good at. His ears are superb. So he's sitting there doing nothing. I visited him, and we went for a walk. He lives in the
Hmm.
suburbs of Moscow. By the way, the most famous suburbs called Rublovka, where oligarchs live. So, but he's not an oligarch. He just happened to own a little tiny microscopic apartment on the fringe. Like I said, Pavel, you live in Rublovka. Are kidding me? Well,
Yeah.
he has a wife and they live in a little tiny apartment. So we started walking, and there's a beautiful lake. And I suggested to him, it was a few years ago, Pavel, what if we gather some good people, good musicians, uh, maybe less in front musicians.
Mm.
Musicians were not there in the middle. Those don't need any help. They do very well. But some people who just want to reconnect, and let's call it lake school. No, yes, yes, lake school.
Hmm.
You
Mm.
know, like it's just lake school, lakes, forests.
Lake, like body of water lake.
Yeah, like water, like
Okay, lake
lake.
school.
There was lake poetry in England. If you
Mm.
take train toward Scotland, toward Durham, you'll see this landscape, these little lakes and villages,
Mm.
and it's kind of unimposing. However, I find it interesting that real art develops not in the assigned places, but in some lagoons. It's always like, who are you?
Hmm.
Why is
Oh, those.
it? Why are you on top 20 or top 10?
Yep.
Who are you?
Well, those borders and walls have, well, they've been taken down and things are on a bigger scope. in the
Yeah,
region.
yeah. So Anthony, what are you doing now? What is on your mind? Okay, come on, break break the news.
Well, I something that was on my to-do list was to write all my how do I put it, most involved professors and professors that I had most conversations with, to update them and send them well wishes for the new semester, but trying to figure out where to land job wise after school has been
Job, job thing. I told you
job
guys.
that.
I told you
Yeah,
guys. It's very interesting to observe now a student
yeah,
who was sitting in front of me, and I was like preaching to the choir about the jobs.
the job. Yeah,
Job, JB,
but
yeah.
it took a few months to really dial in the resume and the cover letter and then where exactly. But I'm currently in talks with a company in New York,
Uh-huh.
a music technology company, and yeah, waiting for my interview, and I'm really really excited.
Excellent. Good to know.
Mhm.
Good to learn about this. Now, look, I don't know if I told you, but I keep telling this to my students. So your expectations when you're graduating, well,
Mhm.
but they're normal expectations. Look, I have graduated from Moscow Conservatory. Where is my apartment? Where is my job? Where's my car? Well,
Mhm.
I'm here. Hello.
Yeah, and it was very interesting to graduate into and go into the workforce, or try to at least get into the workforce during the pandemic. You know,
Oh, that is, oh God, that is fantastic.
I had to,
If I
I
may
had to,
joke about this, if the joke is even
yeah,
appropriate.
because I think there's always a sense of networking when for a newly graduated person, and I had to do all my networking virtually on Twitter.
Yeah, yes. Instead of rubbing elbows and say,
Rubbing
"Hey, what's up?"
shoulders and elbows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Listen, yeah, I know. Well, my friend David Malvini, he will probably show up also on one of our conversations. I saw him
Mm.
when there was no pandemic. We went to a conference and we went to
Mm-hmm.
the book exhibit. Large conferences have this book.
Uh-huh.
And we were just browsing all kinds of Oxford University press, this press, that press. And he said, Ildar, can you just wait for me? I'll just talk to this person. This is the representative of Routledge. So I said, so how? He said, "Yeah,
Mm.
I just talked to this person." Some few months later,
Yep, that's the way to be.
few months later, he has published a book on gypsies. And by the way,
Oh,
if you look at this quotation index, citation index, like Hirsch
yeah,
index, believe me, his book is quoted and used in academia, and I helped a little bit. There was one chapter,
absolutely you did.
one
Absolutely.
chapter, and said,
Oh, okay, one
David,
tap.
how can you do this? You just went to a person, talked to him for 15 minutes, and next thing he has signed the contract and it's already signed. Yeah, yeah, and now it's very difficult to do this distantly, isn't it? You have to somehow
Yeah.
present yourself. Very, very exciting. Anthony, look, talking about this. On the other hand, um, if there is no traditional classical job according to job description for you, for example, teaching composition at Ivy League school, is it?
Correct.
There's so many things which need a plugin, which need something. And for example, this thing, Zoom, we started teaching and it happens so that it's okay. The only thing is missing is sound. Sound is not solved. So I've been teaching since March 15th. Nothing has been done. Nothing. And it's still there. And I don't understand why someone cannot improve this or propose something else. something like that. This is, but this requires some bold moves, so steps to the side. You see that? So, maybe I should do something like that. Then there's the sound trap thing. Have you touched this? You know what sound trap is? Sound trap.
Sound trap. Mm-mm.
Oh God, this sound trap is amazing. I have to share it with you. Just a second.
Yes, please.
While we're talking, so it's a crazy thing. I was desperate, and I work at church, and our church was going to fall apart pretty much because without music, it's just it's not going to work. So here it is. Here's my sound trap thing. I'll show it to you very quickly. So it's like DAW, but it has embedded link sharing system. So I go to I don't know, something. We've done this. And by the way, while working distantly through this machine, I befriended some musicians whom I've never seen. I'm working with a beautiful singer. I know that she is a medical nurse and she sings some gospel music. She's African American, and I have not seen her yet. I really want to meet her because we have recorded so many things. So I took this. I took as a model some recording, but of course, I sight read the accompaniment. Sorry, is it shared with sound very quickly, or shared with sound?
Shared with sound, yeah.
There's a sound. Okay.
Wow.
This is VSTs, not a single natural instrument. Cheap ones, by the way.
This is amazing.
Amor d'amor. She's a diamond. She's a gem.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, she's a medical nurse.
Wow.
I've done all this kind of fine tuning, all this. You see these little things there.
Well, what's amazing, it's all in the browser.
Yeah, it's browser based.
Wow.
Automation. Do you see that automation?
Mm-hmm. Professor.
So this is an example of sound trap working.
Wow.
I'm sucked into that. I really, thank you. I really enjoyed this. And of course, there's some loops. You can do some pop music, very nice stuff.
Right.
We have not seen each other. I don't know who these people are. What it is? I have 8, 9 member, 10. I can make it actually 20 member choir. I can replicate. I can shift. I can move.
And it's all. I mean, you have so many projects too.
Yeah, some like 200. Well, every week I have to compose. I feel like I'm a church composer and musician. It has never been like that. And technology suggest something interesting. You know, my choir was a very good choir, but we never had time to rehearse enough.
Hmm.
I'm busy here and then. But now we can record each line separately, and I can make like real 4-part, real 5-part
Hmm.
advanced stuff. We've done Guillaume Dufay, things like that, and of course all kinds of gospel music, whatever we have.
Hmm. And they're all being documented in real time.
Yeah, sure, 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 sure. Yes, done. Anthony, what are your works now? So show me what you're doing in different genre. Maybe it doesn't matter. Look, for me, I'm not.
Uh-huh.
When they say the white privilege, I'm Tatar. Nobody even knows what Tatar is. Sometimes I ask myself, who is Tatar? Do you know this nationality, ethnicity? Oh, when in application forms, is it Asian
Yeah,
Pacific?
yeah, 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 yeah.
No, specify what it is. You know, Tatar is. Nobody knows what Tatar is. It's
Yeah.
a group of people who live in heartland, Eurasian continent,
Hmm.
and I'm not picky.
Yeah.
I'm not picky. Like, oh, you have done this clear respect, but this is not according to the latest publication of historically
Hmm.
informed performance. See, she's saying it incorrectly. She spent 1 week working on this, and she's a medical nurse. But
As a medical nurse.
I can trade this singer.
Hmm.
I can replace any other singer with this singer. She's
Hmm.
amazing. She's amazing. And you know, look,
I think that's a perfect lead in into this conversation that we want to have.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I in my last semester I took Dr. Weiss's History of Instruments course.
Whoa, that's fun course. I heard so much good about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I took I took it. I believe I guess it would have been 2 semesters, but I took it the last semester, and my final paper on there was on música criolla in Venezuela.
Oh,
In
Creole.
post, yeah. So at the turn, well, right when the modern colonization happened in Venezuela, you
Creole.
see, you see,
Beautiful language.
criolla. It's
Creole.
very, it's a very, very powerful word. I came to understand because um, that word is used for the description of indigenous African and European styles coming together in Venezuela at this time.
Interesting. Very exciting.
Yeah. And to think that when that was happening, it happened so organically and no restrictions, and everyone embraced each other's cultures and made this music that we wouldn't have otherwise.
I see. I see.
Mhm. And you see this
Maybe
happening in Brazil too.
Brazil, yeah. Maybe when you're in a place which is equidistant from other places, it's you are the same. You are the same.
Mhm.
You're in the same boat, and especially if you have nothing to lose. So
Yeah.
that if you possess pretty much the same thing as this, in Russian we say that hardships unite. You know,
Hmm.
hardships unite. People tend to be separate and feisty and
Hmm.
picky when they're very well off. But if it's a problem, if this
Hmm.
is some kind of, the Venezuela
And
is a
it's
very beautiful country. I know
hmm
looks. Oh, somebody is drilling here. It
I
looks
saw
like
it.
it's a rich place, but
Well,
the
in that
land is not does not give much food, isn't it? Is that the
so yeah, so Venezuela when it was um Egypt when it was first colonized, it was such hard land to live on and to work on that
yeah?
a lot of the African slaves were sent there to work. Criminals, white criminals and lower class were sent there to work the harsh land. And then you
I
also had just the indigenous folks that were also put to work. Yeah, and so they were really all part of this of a similar struggle
uh-huh.
in those individuals.
We're all in it together, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely, yeah. So
yeah.
what was the music? The,
Can you repeat that?
what is the music?
So in for Venezuela, it's joropo and gaita that are like the traditional folkloric genres that came at that time. And with gaita, you have this like European sense of poetry, but then you have the like African rhythm in that music, but then you have like the indigenous large amounts and like it being a music of ritual, you know.
And we here don't know much about it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
In general
No,
audience.
not up here, no. And it's just interesting to see the parallel. For me, when I was doing this paper, I was noticing how in Venezuela there's this gathering and there's this kind of symbiotic growth that they had, and then you think of the States where everything was so kind of compartmentalized, and you know, this can't reach over here and this has to stay over here, you know, which there's a lot of great conversation we had about it to preserve the original intent and like place that certain music came out of, like blues or jazz. But it's such a big world, and people start being part of the same time, and you know, I think naturally we start picking up on each other's culture and sound.
Yeah, you mentioned in the beginning, and now you mentioned no compartments, no borders, no. So many, in so many places, it's normal. My uncle, who passed away recently, I remember he would come to our house without giving us any warning. He would just kick the door open. Like, hey, I said, wait a second. Uncle, we're in the middle of something. Said, why didn't you call that you're coming? What? People don't even call each other. They just get, hey, let's go. You'll do that later. That's how they communicated. And in some places, they still do that. You kind of you lose a little bit of your privacy. Like, but in exchange, you have a collective singing at the table, things like that. Or when you really desperately need it, sometimes. And at my age, I started encountering this. When something really, really bad happens, you see, like, where's everybody? Oh, they're all observing their privacy. They're not available right now. Yeah. So you die along there. So yeah. So this is really funny. Venezuela, beautiful. It's just sounds. When I was a student at Moscow Conservatory, I lived with 4 or 5 guys from Venezuela. My roommates Venezuela. First of all, they cook. They cook something with cabbage and spices and pork, and the whole dormitory was just like zombies in my room. Because, and then in the spare time, there's free time. You know, this Soviet barrack dormitories at long passage, very long passage. You just sit down on the floor. Sit down on the kind of dirty floor. 4 guitars and a girl with maracases. I wish I had a recording of this. I wish we had a recording of this. And I asked myself, should I go to a lecture to conservatory, or should I stay and analyze and work with this repertoire, because it's right in front of your nose and it's as advanced as anything that you can hear in the concert hall. This is amazing.
Yeah, this was my dilemma. This was my dilemma at Peabody.
Should I go to school, or should I do work which is as advanced as sophisticated and maybe even more urgent to do something? Anthony, are you playing in the band?
Not at the moment. I think just with the pandemic and graduating, I slowed down and really just started thinking about what job I'm gonna go I could get into. I was
Yes,
just thinking about jobs.
it's time to like set this aside because that's sweet stuff. But can you tell me how can you
Yeah.
reconcile academic work with this highly non-academic thing, and how does it feel when you changing masks like this, Hyde, Jekyll and Hyde or something like that?
Well, I think because I felt that way at the beginning of my studies, but I gained more confidence at the end of my studies to be like they're the same thing. There is as an important academic integrity to what's happening now as there is as we look back, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually with samba and bossa nova, we see this because at every new turning point for samba, it's met with such resistance. You know, samba really is the traditional folkloric music of modern Brazil, coming from African slaves. And then when and we start there and we go into the 50s where bossa nova comes to light in a different, more pensive
Uh,
thought
more meditative,
approach,
more
very
contemplative,
slow,
meditative.
more
Uh-huh.
more contemplative, very heavy with poetry, and it was met a little bit with with resistance. Gilberto has a piece called Desafinado, which means out of tune, and he wrote this, and this
Desafinado
was
means
written
out of tune. Desafinado means out
out
of
of tune. Yes, and it became really one of the most popular pieces from bossa nova, and it's all about him turning the mirror back on Brazil and being like, I mean, the song is truly a masterpiece. It's basically saying, how can you tell me what I'm doing is not music? How can you tell me what I'm doing is anti-musical when I am just one of you? And this is what happens. Hmm. That's the one. Yep.
I play this. You know what I'm missing?
E
I
você
can't remember.
disse que desafina amor. Eu privilegiado.
Oh my god!
Yes.
You know what
And you
I
know,
experience?
uh-huh.
And I cannot relax. Wait. What do you have to do to just slightly touch the strings? You're not playing them. You're just like, just as if you don't want to do it. I mean, it's just
Mhm.
that
You know,
is.
I think I watched this beautiful documentary on bossa nova and its emergence, and really it was, I believe the place of origin is in Bahia, which is part of Rio de Janeiro.
Uh-huh.
It's a beach town, and a lot of what it was a lot of these friends, you know, Jorge Gilberto, uh, Astrid Gilberto, Elis Regina, all these people were in Bahia, the beach towns, where these massive apartment complexes, where
Uh-huh.
someone's above you, under you, to the side, and a lot of them would work till late, and they couldn't get together till around 9 or 10 p.m. And so they had to be very quiet with their guitars and sing
Oh,
so softly. And that's where a lot of the tonation of the tone of bossa nova comes.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
And look, what is bossa? How to translate exactly into English the name of the
You
genre?
know, Bossa, I'm not sure. I believe Nova is new. Nova.
Uh-huh.
Bossa would be, let's see.
New
I don't
feeling
know.
or new feel, new. What is it?
Let's see. Let's see. Charm.
Oh,
Yeah,
new charm.
new
Okay,
charm.
my life will never be the same after today.
Yeah.
By the way, you see this harp here?
Yes.
My wife, Iraida Poberezhny,
Right.
she's a harpist. She studied at Peabody and Moscow Conservatory. Guess what she's doing now? Jobim, it's like, I got Jobim and Piazzolla, and she's trying to find some rare things and so forth. So sometimes we do this.
Hmm.
She plays it very well. You know, this is ensemble harp and piano. Strangely enough, it's a good feat. You would think, why would you just? When it's played with this heavy Russian sound, she plays really, really
Yes.
with meat and bone.
Uh-huh.
But when she plays that, it sounds almost like piano, almost indivisible. And I play, so I come close to her. She comes close to me. We just meet our midpoint. And it would tell us what's up with Russians who are dying for bossa nova, tango. No, really. I can give a lecture on how it was implemented in Russia and Poland. Poland is another country.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
maybe,
you see a heavy influence in the United States. You know, there was un intercambio, there was a exchange with the United States and bossa nova, because that most definitely bossa nova kind of emerged autonomously by itself, but it was also receiving a influence from American jazz.
of course, yes. Oh, that's for sure. Yes. Well, no,
And so
influences. Yeah,
once bossa nova kind of had its identity, then bossa nova took a real influenced the United States in a heavy way into the 60s. I mean, a lot of 60s contemporary music at that time was very, very influenced by bossa nova.
I see. And then Antonio Jobim, I think his biography is related to French music as well. It's kind of connection, obvious connection, French, and there's so much. This is kind of French film music is based on that same thing too.
And Jobim's orchestration is, I mean, there are some beautiful, beautiful pieces there.
Yeah.
His orchestration is wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, and so then what's funny is just a few years later, those same, well, the young people who were influenced by bossa nova, and certainly were students of bossa nova, then they kind of changed and they made a new movement called Tropicalia. This is what I think what's very interesting, what I've been thinking a lot about with you approaching me, is how when people want to learn about samba, they go to Joao Gilberto, they go to Tom Jobim, which is wonderful, but I don't think that's truly samba. Those are works that have been influenced and grew from samba. Or sometimes they'll go to artists in Tropicalia thinking that it's samba, but it's, you know, I think samba hasn't been represented
Interesting.
well, and I don't think that there's that great of documentation of samba.
Oh.
There's certain, like, you know, during the time of Tropicalia, which I can get into, there's artists in the 60s like Sergio Mendes, and he really created samba ensembles. He kind of kept the traditional. I think you maybe know the song "Eh Magaleanana." Na, 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 Magalea Bose.
Yeah,
This is the
I
tropic.
heard it. Yes, yeah, yeah.
This is more of the traditional, but in a sense, it's still not samba. It's more of a conservative work.
Appropriation, what they call it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. So, well, anyways, and so
Antonio,
into the.
you know what? I have something similar. I've been working with Bashkirian folk music, which is nomadic,
Mhm,
step, beautiful. It's prolonged songs. So when
mhm,
we were working on this during Soviet period, there was an Academy of Science responsible for that. We would gather these volumes, transcribe them, the recordings on tape, reel to reel tape. The tapes are destroyed now by time.
mhm,
And I went to my hometown a couple of times, and I couldn't find any recordings and any presence of original genre.
mhm,
And now they start doing this written stuff, and it sounds a little bit like rap or something like that. But it's
mhm,
cool. It's cool. But
mhm.
I'm absolutely positive that nobody in that big city and in that republic, which is 4 million people, nobody has any exposure to the original. I'm not saying that original is better than whatever, but the fact is, as you mentioned, samba, for example, that's a good example. It's just gone. Yes, and that stuff was not really well recorded.
Mhm. I mean,
Or
it definitely predates modern recording technology.
that's the same thing too. Yes. Or we've just got we have got the last example of epic genre, Bashkirian epic genre, which is entirely different.
Mhm,
It's a 1 hour long narration about
mhm.
time when Earth was fallen into parts, crack open, and heroes came out. You, a Soviet farm worker, how do you know that? Grandfather has left this for me. And of course, when this woman died, it's done, wiped out of the surface of the
Mhm.
Earth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Anthony, in my class, I'm teaching this week 2 of Theory 5 is dedicated to folk music, which is very abnormal, by the way.
Yeah.
It doesn't say in the job description you have to you have to teach folk music. But I have some students from Sierra Leone. There's a Kevin, perfect. He just went there, and I have students from with origins from Ireland, and they keep
Mhm.
bringing this magnificent materials, not necessarily originals, but some kind of arrangements. So
Yeah.
I grab a guitar and play it. It's different from, but I just wanted to do what my grandfather or my grandmother
Yeah.
used to do, and so forth. This is Anthony, and I'm sorry, I'm so glad that you are doing this. See that you're not being completely converted into modernist ideology, because so many just said, "Oh, forget about this." I
Mhm.
studied with some professors who said, "Was Stravinsky, was he Russian? Really? Oh, really? What are you talking about?
Or 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 can or
His
condition.
underpants are Russian. Were Russian. His
Yeah.
nails are Russian. His teeth are
Yeah.
Russian. There's no more Russian composer than Stravinsky."
Yeah.
And pretty much all these manipulations with meter and things, he just grabbed this from the air,
Mhm.
which is, of course, gone too, not available. So I wonder, it's 21st century, Anthony. It's 21st century, and we still cannot part with this.
Yeah. Well, it's the the time for literature to. I'll say it this way: by the time the literature is collected and assembled, we're no longer there.
So Anthony, can you show, yeah,
I.
yeah. Go
No, go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
Can you show us
No,
a
I was
little
just
bit?
gonna say that
Yeah.
in my last semester, or I guess four semesters ago, I really wanted to get into literature from around 2001, around the time of 9/11,
Oh,
and read literature post that. Speaking of the event, and what a impactful time, and now being a year or two later, we go right into the pandemic. Something
Yeah,
certainly
yeah,
there's literature now, but
yeah.
but
But it's different one. It's different literature. Yeah.
mhm.
So, Antonio, what are you writing now? What is the current status of your work, and or what?
Sure.
Maybe you have some recordings or something like that
Yeah,
to
here,
show.
let me send you this really quick.
Yeah, send it
Um,
to the chat, and we will see how it.
yes, I I self-published a record, a album. I titled it Pandemia 2020.
Oh,
I put it
very
in the chat.
interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
they
So
were all
two of them.
songs.
Two of them. One. Let's begin with the first one, isn't it? I have two
So the
things.
so this document
Docs.
is something I was just going to share with you for Bossa Nova, our conversation with Bossa Nova. And the
Okay.
second link is some music that I
The
published.
second. Let us see. Aha, it's a digital album. Oh, okay, it's a digital album.
Hmm.
We'll talk about that in a second. I have some ideas, but first let us share the screen with this digital album, Pandemia. What an interesting idea. I mean, okay. So I press this button and we start listening.
Sure, go ahead.
There comes a time in life where you can live like butterflies as they made it to. Before the while you see the one you will be as you stop and begin to believe. I wanna die.
Excellent, excellent,
Thank
really excellent.
thank you.
Can we stop for a second?
Yeah,
And
please.
um, Anthony, I'm a musicologist and I'm music theorist. My teeth are already ready to
Yeah.
sing it. Beautiful.
The project does have became this big philosophy piece for me, or just like this contemplative work, because every track on there I originally just thought of a scratch idea or like a demo,
Uh,
and then the California wildfires happened in
oh God.
September, and and obviously we came from a very, 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 very heavy summer with the protests and the uprisings and the demonstrations that we saw. And then
Yeah.
this wildfire happened in September, and I just thought, you know, certainly there's something to be said about developing an idea and taking it to the studio, but also we don't have that luxury anymore. And with the pandemic, we don't know how much time we have left, and so I felt like let me just
Oh.
present and publish this work in its most like
Rough, original, rough, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah, something.
yes, and I also I love drawing as a contemporary radical art form, and I think I consider this very much like drawing, so I
Interesting,
just
very interesting, exciting,
yeah,
exciting.
some of
And
them are iPhone recordings, some of them are
who cares? Who cares? My
yeah, it doesn't matter.
church choir members. "Hey, will you publish this? We're afraid. This is they
Yeah,
go to, they used to go to Metropolitan Opera, and
yeah,
I mean they said, stop that, stop whining.
yeah,
The criterion of polished,
yeah.
finalized thing is you're absolutely right. Look, maybe we don't even have time. I mean, it's horrible thing to say, but
Can you repeat that last bit?
maybe we don't even have time. You just mentioned that. That you
Yeah,
just have thrown this into our
yeah.
conversation. Listen, but it's also this composition shows your experience, your exposure to American music, well,
Hmm.
decades, isn't it? And British.
Hmm.
I hear some British overtones, like early
Oh,
Beatles or
there's
something like
definitely some Beatles in there.
Beatles. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that was like my most Beatles.
yes, yes. Well, did I did I miss something? And also, we studied. You studied.
I actually, when I wrote that, I thought very much of when you deconstructed "Hey Jude" in class.
Yeah. Yes, yes, but that's yeah. And harmonically speaking, it's so beautiful. Well, of course, you took the basso lamento thing, but you put it in this particular context, and then there's this fluctuation. I mean,
Yeah, minor major.
sometimes simple things like that work miracles, because how
Hmm.
else can you express the condition of the pandemics? It's bipolar. We're all bipolar now, isn't it? We're all
Yeah.
bipolar. Has become not a status of a special condition, but we're all the whole mass people. We're all bipolar now.
Hmm.
And you mentioned the unsettled, upset summer. Of course, summer is
Hmm.
upset, especially for younger people. You were there. I'm afraid to say that
Yeah.
I've been most sitting, but I saw you guys outside, and that should somehow pour out into musical expression, and I really love that. I really love the way you put it. And also, it's not just a song, it's a composition. It has form there. It's toward the end,
Hmm.
you move it someplace else beyond the
Hmm.
rondo like, with refrains, but the rondo like thing is also very work very well done. And I'm not sure that I would prefer some kind of experimental or post-spectralist, post-minimalist composition uh, and say, well, that's better than yours. I have no idea why
Mhm.
why would even I bring this up, because see,
Right, right, right.
there is old modernism. They just keep banging on the same
Yes.
wall, which they started banging in 1950s. But you are
Hmm.
doing something entirely different. You're not pop musician that is oblivious to all these ideas. No, you are
Hmm.
well trained. You know pretty much everything. And he said, I'll choose this. I'll take this. I'll take now. I'll take this. Let's listen to more
Hmm.
music. I really want to listen to more of your music, because it's
Sure.
it's
Sure.
just it's so listener oriented. It's so communicable.
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
thinking, why is it that we are always listening to something in the mainstream or watching something? Why can't we just replace
Hmm.
this with this conversation? It's rough. It's not
Hmm.
perfect. Nobody's perfect,
Yeah.
but it would be
Well,
of
because
interest.
because like you said, kind of like you said though, with this model that you have of the Lake School is, because maybe those conversations don't really happen at the forefront. They happen somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, somewhere in the middle. Yes, 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 yes. No,
Hmm.
forward-looking, far in a in the universe, far away. This was 1960s craze about space and space exploration. I am postmodernist. I mean, what is postmodernist? It's actually a good thing. It's not very bad. Everybody knows that
Yeah.
postmodernism is bad. Postmodernism is realization of the sinful past. It's
Yeah.
like, what have I done, God?
Yeah.
So
And then I'm in the place where I go, oh, what have they done?
what have they done? Yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
let's listen to more of this. It's amazing, beautiful. So oh, it's here. Piece number 2. And let me share this again. First, share this. We have to do share
Sure.
this. So it's a cycle called the pandemia. It's very interesting. Why is it that I don't see the list?
Oh, go back to where it says Pandemia 2020. Click on the link that says
Oh, I have to
right
click.
under the song
I'll
title.
I will just click this again to this thing again. It's a different one. Oh, I see it.
Hmm.
Yeah. And now let's listen to more of this. While I'm turning this on, you know what? I have an idea about this. And Ivan Moshuk, we're talking about this with as students adding film to this. What would you say? Now it's on the specific layout when there's this just soundtrack. Of course, when I started adding film to my music, I like, where is my music now? The film looks good.
Hmm.
Where did it go?
Yeah.
It disappears momentarily. It's just, and I start believing into that. I said, well, maybe what I wrote was wrong. Maybe film.
Hmm.
You just add the film. It's like weeds. It's like
Yeah. Well,
cover.
you being so studious in film and film scoring, it's like music. It can be different types of, you can have a song that's more like a drawing or like a photograph.
Yes, Anthony, let's talk about this. You started doing this. I remember you started talking about
Yes.
doing some kind of psychedelic, modern, avant-garde visuals.
Hmm.
And by the way, do you have an older video of things that you've done previously? You've shown this. Let's listen to this first. Let's listen to
Sure.
number 2.
Sure.
No ¿Cómo es que yo no me amé? ¿Cómo es que yo sigo perdido? ¿Cómo es que yo se ha entendido? ¿Cómo es que yo te alcancé, mariposa? Eres tú. No sé lo que pasa, intenciones y se pierden. No sé lo que pasa, ansiedades pues me cansan. ¿Cómo es que yo no me amé? ¿Cómo es que yo sigo perdido? ¿Cómo es que yo se ha entendido? ¿Y cómo es que yo te alcancé? ¿Cómo es que tú te dañes? ¿Cómo es que tú sufras? ¿Cómo es que tú no te veas? ¿Cómo es que tú encuentres paz, mariposa? Eres tú. Y ya nacerás, y ya nacerás otra vez.
Amazing, amazing.
Thank you.
Very good, very good.
Thank you.
You know what happened? You have this question, qu'est-ce que pasa, qu'est-ce que pasa, and you're not resolving it. It's just a question. You're gonna one thing was it's actually a couple of chords, but it's never resolved for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
At the very end, you add a long expected, anticipated harmonic progression. You see,
Yeah. Some tonality.
yes, moving away around it, and then you finalize it in the case. So you
And I
suspend
think
it.
the resolution is really still in the question. I don't
And
know.
it is still a question, yes, yes, yes. Like
Yeah.
a boom, like finally, you. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I would do the same thing because, but it's a plan. It's a plan of action
Mhm.
for you. You created
Yeah.
this. It's very, very thoughtful because you just keep suspending it, keep suspending it, keep suspending. It sounds sweet. It sounds very
Mhm.
luscious. A good sound in terms of pop music. Sound is very
Mhm.
good. You're doing very nice tricks with voice and doubling like echo, this kind of, and we're paying attention to this, but we cannot get rid of this feeling that it's horribly, jarringly unresolved question like progression.
Well, my experience with writing it was and the starting point, it all makes sense from like the first section into the second section, but then to get back to here is like a complete drop off. So you start again.
Yes,
And the logic is-
exactly. It
yeah,
makes sense. It's like, oh, what a sweet piece. Let me just groovy, but then you pull us out of the groove, kind of.
yeah, yeah.
And
Well,
that's
and
out of
usually I'm
comfort
like,
zone.
usually when I'm writing a song, it's like I always want it to feel complete, and I love making those, tonal changes and the key changes.
Uh-huh.
And I found a challenge with this one. I found a challenge with this song because I thought, oh, well, but I really can't make sense of going back to the A section. And then I liberated myself and I said, that's fine. It doesn't matter.
It creeps in. It creeps in that
Yeah.
it's not just some kind of nice afternoon, drinking song or something that you are raising a serious question by means of genre. We have talked about this with my students in Renaissance dance genre. We're not paying attention to genre. I mean,
Hmm.
you can tell the difference between cha-cha-cha and bossa nova in terms of or tango in dance, because steps, but not. But and some musicians who are involved that let's say the percussionists, he knows slight difference between this shuffle, that shuffle. It's
Yeah.
each rhythm has its name, it has its specificity, and like, are you doing it on 61 Baltimore Shuffle? And
Yeah.
we're musicians, we don't know genre name. We know waltz, march. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
That's why I totally receive and agree with this notion of like the first track being very Beatles, kind of that 70s Beatles sound, and then this one is very much more inspired by bossa nova or like Venezuelan manera
Yes,
music.
yes.
And I think that's more of the defining factor of contemporary music is the context of a whole body of work, not just track by track.
Yeah, oh, the whole thing. Yeah, the crowd.
Mhm.
Anthony, I suggest putting the lyrics, the texts, onto that
Yeah,
page,
yeah, I need to do it.
because sometimes I like sometimes I do a song and then I'm tempted to translate it into Russian. Let's try this.
Mm,
And this song, which I wanted to show you very quickly. Um,
dude, please.
it is our church business, and I work in church, so this is there was a funeral, and well, I'm working at church, and I do this unfortunately on a regular basis, and
Hmm.
um, it was just a request, and they gave me some kind of a page which was look horrible, like written by an amateur or something like that. No, not that, not that, not that, not that, not that. Every time, let me, no, 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 not this one. So, and then I started working on it, and I have to tell you, I can't listen until the end of it because it's so powerful. And
Hmm.
it's simple, it's powerful. This song is called "If I Can Help Somebody," and it is.
Mm,
I don't know if you know this. It's very rare. It sounds like spiritual, but it was written by
mm,
a girl in 1947.
mm,
Her father was a truck driver, and she has a high school education. Probably saying she has
wow.
a high school education. So she is probably from the most impoverished areas in Midwest somewhere, who knows what. And she
Hmm.
wrote a song in the style of her people,
Hmm.
which is sounds like that. I started working on this, and it's amazing. And let me just show it to you very quickly, a little
Please,
bit.
please.
And I put some text. I think I put the text there under. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes the text, because you're not treating text easily, isn't it? You really taking seriously. It's very difficult to discern in sound. So I would just put. I use VSTs, old electronic instruments like Wurlitzer.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
from
That's what I
1960.
use. Yeah, that's what I use. I have a Wurlitzer. Yeah. It's amazing.
If I can help somebody as I pass along, if I can cheer somebody with a word or song, if I can show somebody is traveling wrong,
He's traveling wrong.
then my living shall not be in vain.
Yeah.
Then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. If I can point somebody to the land once slain, if I can turn somebody that he rose again, that he can cleanse the guilty, he can wash the stain, then my living shall not be in vain.
And so forth. I don't want to keep you all the time.
No,
Like,
that's great. No,
this
that's
is
great.
then my living shall not be in
Shall
vain.
not be in vain. Ooh.
This is crazy, and this is a gem, and I don't know. And oh, by the way, the recording process was so horrible. By the way, I actually played it first.
Hmm.
I imagine them singing it.
Yeah.
It's not
And
that,
then they sang.
not the other way around. And then they
Right.
sing it, and they immediately see the image, which I give them. By the way, it's a very interesting new condition, pandemic soundtrack.
It's very, 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 very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Normally that they would sing and I would play the accompaniment, like when it's time to.
Well,
No,
because
but
and it's together. It unravels together.
yeah, it looks like we're doing it at the same time, but it's not like that.
Yeah.
Anthony, we don't
It's
have too much
wonderful.
time,
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
but can we watch one of your videos where there's this visual earlier? Do you have it? I think
So
you have.
actually, I would love to. I would love to show you a work I did with. I'm currently staying at my best friend's house. Her name is Maria Sanchez, and she is she's in her senior year at MICA.
Oh,
in
Micah!
graphic design
Oh God,
at
I
MICA,
know.
and she is as well. She's a Venezuelan immigrant. She's a Venezuelan American. And right before the pandemic, actually right at the beginning of the pandemic, my band, I worked on a production, recording with my band, and she did the video for it, and it was a very symbiotic process. But I think you would really like the video. So let me find
I
it.
would love to see the communication with video, because my keyword is music and image, music and in image and so forth. Oh God, what a beautiful conversation. Anthony, we'll have to repeat. We'll have to continue.
Yeah,
we haven't finished showing your music.
Oh no.
Okay, let's see.
So here's I just put it in the chat. The song is called Bodies.
Well, the good title for the song. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wait. I will share this, and we will have a recording of this. So amazing.
Yeah,
Bodies.
I think she truly speaks to the. She's definitely a voice of our time.
Excellent. Anthony, you're lucky that you have a friend like that. We had this new thing. I will introduce you to that. I befriended Professor Beatrice Thiriet from Paris. She is teaching, she's a composer and is teaching film music at École Normale de Musique Alfred Cortot. So this last semester, my students and her students, we had joint seminars with Paris, and we have this Facebook group. It's called Baltimore Paris Letters.
Wow.
We send each other's letters, musical visual letters. So maybe you and your friend will join. We will be very happy to see you. Let's watch the film and your music.
Very, very lucky. Also, one last thing is.
Oh, one last thing. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. We did a lot of filming in person, but she designed all these environments that you're about to see just on her computer. And I think it's just I mean, we were working on this before the pandemic hit, and I think it was just so appropriate seeing this virtual reality aspect in this video. It was just
excellent. So Anthony, it's done. I will send you the links. You join our group, and it's growing. It's getting bigger. You know what? In Paris, they have a established program. Students from two schools like you and a person from Micah, they work on joint degree program. The final project, the diploma project, is music by a composer from Paris Conservatory, and the film by a student from university or from film school. I've seen this work is also very, very impressive. And the established programs called Musique and Image. Well, let's watch this. I'm excited, very excited.
Last night I felt you inside of me. Now I believe that one day we will meet. Last night I felt you inside of me. I believe one day we will. I learned what you meant when you said to focus on my much meaning to every motion we were made. That's it. Eso es todo. When you have yelled right into my ear, and my soul aching for my body to calm down, my love. Why does this conflict in me exist? It makes me feel weak. These bodies we perceive no longer will deceive.
Best times ever had on the East Coast. You heard it here, folks. Mwah.
And you and I will be free, and I will be
Absolutely fantastic. So, listen. What is it doing now? Let Oh, I think it wants to repeat itself.
Oh, okay.
So, my dear friend, we have something like that. The French, they went a little bit further. I've seen films, very interesting films, and some of these young people have already won international prizes at film festivals. In Canada, in Brazil, in some place, and Professor Beatrice Theriet suggested that I should start moving and should start promoting my students to these people, these things, and she is much more advanced in this. So I mean, she knows. She had a conversation with Jean-Luc Godard, and she is working with Luc Besson, and she's very communicable. Well, now I sit in Baltimore in this apartment, and of course it's not, pandemic doesn't allow me, but let us plan this, and please invite your friend, and I will do it today. This is the trend. And Ivan Mushuk is working on videos, something like that. There's Anna. Well, there's so many. You will meet these people. So you're not alone in the universe. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's fantastic. I like the video. You see, this is not music, and this is not film. This is something third, something which goes above both things.
That's very, very sweet to hear. I'll make sure to tell her that too.
She's amazing, and she's amazing at this. It will take 1 more hour to discuss. My friend Marat Gubaidulin from Russia, from Ufa, you probably have seen his interview here. He's written a beautiful jazzy composition dedicated to his young wife. He just married, but his harmonic language is just he's moving through the whole field and makes this amazing. So he will watch this, and then we'll ask some other people to join. Anthony, thank you so much. You're always. It's amazing how you're so thoughtful. You're such a thoughtful collocutor. I remember when you took my classes, like, where is Tony? Where's Anthony?
I also have my bad tendencies.
No, that's not the problem. So,
If it helps anyway, you definitely helped me survive and get through university.
we did it to each other. You didn't even notice. You have not even noticed that, but I'm human too. You know, I'm also human. So that was fantastic, exciting, and I'll definitely publish this. Maybe it'll be in 2 parts because it's longer.
Oh, sure, yeah.
1 hour in 2 parts.
Yeah.
And let's see how people will react to that, and we'll
Sure.
see. Yeah,
I'm happy to be of any resource or any help, and thank you for having me and having this conversation.
We will try to promote you through your music, because look, your music. I've listened to 2 songs. I will listen to the rest of them. just put on some lyrics, some text, because it will change everything. Because when you read the text, it's poetry. It's bard. You know, this bard movement. It was in Scotland, in Ireland. A bard is a traveling poet with musical instrument and or this kind of minstrel. This tradition is continuing. There are so many bards in Russia. Oh God, some of them are so famous. They're more famous than other musicians because this person just plays a little bit of guitar and kind of.
Well, it's like I know we're of the same mentality where the Italians believed in the power of words, and they
words and
with opera.
I didn't understand all the text in your second song, but it's powerful. That thing is powerful.
Yeah.
We have discussed harmonic idea, but it's generated by words that you provide. It's repeated. You keep asking questions without receiving answers. Oh God, Anthony. Okay.
Professor, thank you so much.
Thank you
one of
very
my
much.
lifelong mentors. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much, Anthony, and tell hello to your friend. And you're welcome to join our small group on Facebook. And
absolutely, please send me an invite.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, have fun.
All right,
bye bye.
Bye bye.
Talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Excellent. Bye bye.